Hello Peer Potterheads! Today we are talking about my favourite 5 Harry Potter characters. There are so many to choose from, and I love them all for their different roles within the wizarding community. Even Mundungus Fletcher, and that is no easy task. Before I jump into the criteria of my list, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who watched and supported 10 Reasons Ginny Was for Harry. That video was a huge project for me. It literally took me months to research, write, record and edit. It was the first time I had ever done a full-on voiceover project. I'd like to think of this list as a somewhat spiritual successor to that video, and I hope that you will enjoy it as much as its predecessor. All that being said, let's get on to the rules and regs for this list. I do not want to make it easy on myself, so I decided to change things up a little bit. Rule 1 is that I am only including characters from the main Harry Potter films, not Fantastic Beasts. Also, they have to have had a scene in the movies, so unfortunately, Rick Mayall's portrayal of Peeves does not count because it was not included in the films. Sorry, Rick. Additionally, each character I choose must fill one of 5 criteria. These are as follows. The character I quote the most, my personal favourite bad guy, my top favourite member of the DA, the character I most love to hate, and my costume choice for if I were to cosplay. Okay, so now we have the ground rules all laid out, let's go through my favourite 5 Harry Potter characters. Character I quote the most. Although I also quote Molly Weasley a lot of the time, I think I'm going to choose Ron, because he is in fact the person that I quote the most. But there are reasons for my choice. It's not because he is the main character, or because he has a lot of screen time, but simply because I like his quotes throughout the films the best. The first quote from Ron that I like to say is, "She needs to sort out her priorities." The reason I like this quote is because it summarises the early relationship between Ron and Hermione. It's interesting how Hermione cares more about being expelled than effectively life itself. Her priorities do in fact shift over the course of the years, as she later says during Order of the Phoenix to the other members of the DA, "It's fun breaking rules, isn't it?" Quickly responded to by Ron replying, "Who are you and what have you done to Hermione?" It seems in retrospect that his first quote about Hermione's priorities almost sets the stage for Hermione's growth. Another quote from Ron, "Follow the spiders. Why couldn't it be follow the butterflies?" is a perfect response to going into the situation in the Forbidden Forest, especially when spiders are Ron's greatest fear, and he was not brave in the first place. It's also very sarcastic, a common trait with Ronald Weasley. All I can say is thank God for that flying car, otherwise there might only be 2 books and the films in the series, if you get my meaning. Expanding on Ron's fear of spiders, the next quote is in the boys' dormitory. Harry is looking at the Marauders map and is interrupted by Ron's sleepy midnight ramblings. "Tap dance! The spiders want me to tap dance! I don't want to tap dance!" Harry's amazing response to his friend's nightmare is, "You tell those spiders, Ron." Ron immediately goes back to sleep, reassured by Harry's simple advice. This makes me chuckle because it breaks up a very serious moment. I love how he seems to go from being so upset, but so easily reassured. This part always makes me recall what he did to the Boggart in DADA, when he made a giant spider wear roller skates. This is the kind of setup a lot of comedians do when telling a joke. Mid-joke, they recall another joke told earlier in their comedy set, and it reminds audiences of that earlier joke, causing them to laugh at it again, harder. So much like comedians' jokes, when I hear Ron talk about spiders making him tap dance, I get the image of the Boggart in my head, wearing roller skates. I could share Ron quotes all day, but I just wanted to share a few of my favourites. I 100% nominate him for the character that I quote the most. My personal favourite bad guy. Firstly, it is important to add that bad guy is an extremely vague phrase. So I'm choosing my pick based on character decisions and behaviours. For example, Snape is revealed to be a good guy in the end of the story, who only did the things that he did because of his love for Lily Potter. He would, however, still count on my favourite bad guys list because of the bad things that he did throughout the films, regardless of intent or motivation. I'm not, however, going to choose Snape today though, because somebody else stands out for me more. My personal favourite bad guy is Aragog. Again, Aragog is not a straight up typical bad guy. He is loyal to his friend Hagrid, gave Harry and Ron the information that they needed after following the spider, and even agreed to leave the castle to live in the Forbidden Forest, to prove that it was not him killing the students. Though he had little choice in this since spiders flee before basilisks. He basically left just to live the life of a spider. The trouble is, Aragog did make the decision to attempt to eat Harry and Ron, who eventually fled using the magical flying car. If the car had not turned up, then Harry and Ron would not have had a means of escape, and Aragog's children would have eaten them both. I know what you're thinking, that Aragog was only doing as nature intended, providing food for himself and his family. Accept the fact that Aragog can speak and is intelligent enough to ignore base instincts, the same way that humans do. After all, Aragog was able to have a full, free-flowing conversation with Harry himself. So the decision to allow his children to eat the two wizards was a personal and conscientious choice to dismiss the value of human life. The spiders attempt to eat Harry and Ron because they are humans and therefore they are prey in the spider's eyes. As Aragog indicates, Harry and Ron's friendship with Hagrid is not sufficient to award them any special status. Hagrid would have believed that them name-dropping him would have been enough to appease Aragog into not eating his two young student friends. Otherwise, he would not have suggested that Harry get information from Aragog in the first place. As a further point, it is clear that the forest is a thriving ecosystem, full of a vast array of creatures. Prey aplenty for the large family of spiders. It's obvious from the sheer number of children that Aragog has that they are hardly wasting away as a species, and are in fact already well fed on the fruits that the forest has to offer. If there weren't plenty for him to eat, why would he have chosen to live in the Forbidden Forest and stayed there so long? I nominate Aragog as my favourite Harry Potter bad guy, because spiders are already inherently scary, and creating a giant one just furthers the point. The fact that he is very intelligent makes his choices evil, as well as him just being plain scary. A different kind of evil from other Harry Potter bad guys. A real evil, a natural evil. In comparison to other bad guys, say Snape, Bellatrix, Voldemort, who do evil things for a set agenda and morality. Even a twisted morality at that. Aragog chooses to be evil for seemingly no reason at all. No sense of morality, no real point. Perhaps wizards just taste better than whatever else the Aragog family feed off. Who knows? Favourite member of Dumbledore's army? Ginny is arguably a fantastic member of Dumbledore's army. She flawlessly takes out her older siblings in a duel, and is a natural at producing a Patronus charm. Despite this, to me there can be only one top member of Dumbledore's army. My personal favourite member of the GA, and there are a lot of very good choices, is Neville Longbottom. Firstly, his origin story would be difficult for anyone to live through. His parents were tortured with the Cruciatus Curse during the war against Voldemort. Even so, they never shared any information. Most people believe them to be dead, but they're not. They are permanent residents of St. Mungo's Hospital for magical maladies and injuries. Neville never knew them as the popular and talented Aurors that they were known to be, since they've been mentally unwell ever since their torture when he was an infant. Although it took a few school years for Neville to find his inherited bravery, he is as much a hero as his parents before him. Neville Longbottom got the last house points needed to win the House Cup in the first film for the courage and bravery of standing up to his friends. Neville was the first student in his class to face a boggart in DADA. He assisted Harry during the Triwizard Tournament, telling Harry about gillyweed, and discovered the Room of Requirements. I think, though, that the best thing that Neville has done is take up the mantle as the leader of Dumbledore's army during Harry's absence. This was no easy task, because the entire school was occupied by Death Eaters. With the help of Aberforth, he smuggled students in and out of Hogsmeade, and outwitted the enemy at every stage, regardless of his own life's risk. To top all of that off, he destroyed the final Horcrux, Nagini, with the Sword of Gryffindor. Bad ass. In my mind, I can't think of any member of DA that can top Neville Longbottom. He totally did his parents proud. Character I most love to hate. The most obvious character to love to hate is probably Bellatrix Lestrange. But I think that there is one other person in the Harry Potter movies that I love to hate even more, and that person, my friends, is Rita Skeeter. We first meet her during Goblet of Fire. She has arrived at Hogwarts to interview the participants of the Triwizard Tournament. We soon learn that she will twist any story to make it more entertaining. I'm pretty sure that Harry's eyes were not glistening with the ghost of his past. She also created an entire twisted story about Harry and Hermione's love for each other based on a simple good luck hug. She is inexorably frustrating, and yet the whole time you can't help but have a smile on your face because she's also very amusing. She is the perfect caricature of the most infuriating journalists, pointing out the worst characteristics that we genuinely see in everyday life. Put it this way, I could line up a whole list of annoying journalists from an array of different TV and films. And you know who would still be the most entertaining for me? Rita Skeeter, every time. Of course, the character was acted fantastically by the very talented Miranda Richardson. Personally, an actress I have enjoyed in many films and roles, including Sleepy Hollow, Snow White, and Chicken Run. Funnily enough, all very interesting, or at least very entertaining bad guys. I suppose really this section should be actor I most enjoy playing a bad guy. But in all honesty though guys, I did not know that Rita Skeeter was played by Miranda Richardson when I first started making this list. I promise you that. And Rita Skeeter is still the character that I most love to hate anyway. Cosplay costume choice. I want to cosplay as Ginny Weasley in her Quidditch gear for a lot of reasons. Firstly, you should all know by now my love of Quidditch, and also that I am a Gryffindor. Of my recollection, there are not too many female Quidditch players, but I might be wrong. This, to my mind, makes it somewhat slim pickings. Additionally, I love Ginny as a character anyway. I think she's feisty, a bit of a tomboy, light-hearted, but also incredibly talented. I think the uniform has a cool red cloak. It's very stylish and ties the game of Quidditch to the magical world instead of seeming like any other Muggle sport uniform. I love the classic style of the uniform, with the leather shin guards and gauntlets, definitely essential to a rough game like Quidditch. This is what they would call a full contact sport. The funny thing is, in my personal life, I'm not a fan of participating in any sport activity, unless with very close friends and family. However, being able to rise on a broom, chase and beat enchanted balls, and earn house points for my house is something that I would absolutely love to be a part of. I enjoy ice skating, and I kind of imagine flying through the air as kind of that feeling of gliding along the ice. That's just how I imagine flying to feel like. So there you have it. Those were my top 5 Harry Potter characters. I hope that you've really enjoyed this video. A lot of thought has gone into making this one. I really enjoy asking myself these questions and gaining a deeper insight into the wizarding world. In the comments below, let me know what your answers to these questions were, and what you thought about my selection. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of our other videos, free giveaways and premieres. I've been Tabby, and thank you for watching, and keep collecting.